All right, Fareed Zakaria is out front now, the host of Fareed Zakaria GPS. So, Fareed, while Will was reporting, and Will and I on this show together so many times, and most of his reports go to Bars and Tone in China. Most of the time, they censor them. They did not censor this. A report about a potential invasion of Taiwan, beginning with a U.S. general saying that they are not practicing, that they are literally rehearsing, that these aren't drills. And they don't censor it. What is really at stake here tonight?
These are the highest stakes, and the Trump administration has badly bungled this. The greatest deterrent to a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, which would send, seismic ripples through the world economy, through the international political system, the greatest deterrent was not any weapon we had. It was the fear that China had that they would be decoupled from the American economy, the economy with which they had for the last 40 years built a deep interdependent relationship. Trump has fired that gun pointlessly, without a plan, without a strategy. As far as I can tell, the tariffs on China were raised to 145% simply because he wanted to save face. He was backtracking and flip-flopping on all the other tariffs, so he needed to turn China into his punching bag. But because of that, what he has done is play into China's hardliners' hands. They have been waiting for this decoupling. They practiced it during COVID. They practiced it during the Shanghai lockdown. And now what they're going to say is, look, if we go into Taiwan, what do we have to lose? We've already been cut off from the American market.
I mean, it is stunning to consider that this may be where this goes. You talk about the path from tariffs to war, a precipitous one. In China, I want to just show this. Will Ripley, showed that post that the foreign ministry recently posted on X. So this post, Fareed, has now 13 million views. So what it's of is the former leader Mao Zedong speaking during the Korean War era. Now, that is the last time, the Korean War, when China and America were actually at physical war, clashing on a battlefield, right? That's being posted now. And he says, in part, Mao, no matter how long this war lasts, we will never yield. And that is trending now in China. I know this feeds into what you're talking about, but the symbolism here is so culturally significant.
The beginning of China's modern history that every school child is taught in history books is that China was forced and humiliated by Western powers, including the United States, in the 19th century, and had to back down and had to accept humiliation and a kind of neo-colonial arrangement with the foreign powers. And the message of Chinese history is never yield like that again. We will never allow ourselves to be put in a position like that. Look, and the Chinese have a fairly strong hand. A lot of the things the United States imports from China, precursors to chemical, pharmacy, drugs, chemicals, minerals. These are all core things, computer chips. I think I saw one number that said 60% of the chips we import are Chinese chips. We need that stuff. It's not going to be easy to find it somewhere else. You can't find rare earth all over the world. The Chinese, on the other hand, a lot of what they get from us, agriculture, soybeans, things like that, they can get from elsewhere. And most importantly, don't forget, China is a dictatorship. Xi Jinping doesn't have to worry about public opinion in quite the same way that Donald Trump has to worry about it.
No, you also just came out with an op-ed, Fareed, and you talk about the tariffs. And in this, you write about your own context on it, growing up in India, a country obviously riddled with tariffs and where, no business could survive of any size. It was all about what kind of government handout you were getting or who, you were. It was corruption. You go on to say, when I got to America, I was thrilled to see that most businesses went about their work with little care as to who was in the White House. But now I watch tech pioneers give interviews slavishly extolling Trump's genius, and Wall Street titans race to post North Korea-style congratulations to the president for his brilliance in rescuing the economy from his own actions. And I wonder, what country am I living in? How significant is this moment for you, Fareed, as you see this?
it's a very sad moment, honestly, because to me, as a kid coming to America, America was the city on the hill, the shining example of how a modern economy should work. You have a market, you have rules, you have laws, everybody plays by them. It doesn't matter whether you know the prime minister, the president, a senator. That wasn't important. What was important was the merit. Did you have a good product? Could you sell it to people? And now when you look at the orgy of corruption that is going to be unleashed, we have studies already from the first Trump term. Firms that gave money to Republicans got more exemptions than firms that gave money to Democrats. Already you have Vietnam saying we're gonna expedite the Trump organization's project. Real estate projects are being signed in 19 countries with the Trump organization right now. Yep. All of it says to you that this is an economy where political favor, knowing people, all that has become the key, not the market, which was the glory of the American economy.
All right, Fareed, thank you very much. And I just want to show everyone what is on screen right now in China as this report aired. As I said, this is just when Fareed was talking about Mao Zedong. When we had that particular part of the conversation, it went to bars, Fareed. The rest of the conversation, Will Ripley's report, all of that they did not censor. I say that just to emphasize the closeness with which they are watching this and making these decisions. So the part about invading Taiwan, they obviously wanted that to go out there now. It was censored, obviously, during the Mao Zedong comments.